At this time, I call the Neighborhood Jobs and Housing Committee to order. Ask the clerk to call
Patterson,
here.
Councilmember Weaver, Vice President Harris, President
Here. Stand. Some on this should talk. All right. So introduction number 6 questions, concerns, sale of
Move it.
moved and seconded, and now we vote. Favor 360. Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Say no. Introduction 360. Rising cities 25 tax auction disclosure of interest. This is our representative to she has to disclose her affiliation. She oh, comments or concerns. Yes.
Yes, typically last year there was only about 150. Previous years has been anywhere between 2 and 250. Last year they were pretty aggressive redemptions. So we don't really know. It's always difficult to predict from year to year. Less is better. But we're anticipating about 150 to 200 somewhere.
Sale.
That's typically in areas where we've seen city investment with infrastructure, with housing projects, any commercial development. So we'll try to center focus areas around there. Doesn't always work. It's not always properties available in those areas, so we start that focus there, but it ends up pretty generally citywide. Wherever the opportunities exist is where we'll try to take. Not necessarily. We don't focus on just one area. We try to look at an overall area. Some areas where we just don't ever see foreclosures. Some areas where foreclosures are a little bit more prevalent. So we won't specifically focus on one particular area. It just sometimes it just so happens that's where the opportunities are. So it might be one year where there's a lot in the 14611 area. Although at times it might be in the 4617. It just depends on where the properties are located.
And let the record reflect joint council. Seeing no other questions or concerns. Motion in a second. 16. Moved in second. All in favor? 69. Introduction 37. 6. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns?
Move it.
Seconded, and now we vote. All in favor? 70. Say aye. Aye. All opposed? Say nay. Passes. Housing project. Start with comment. Ray. This is a continuation of ongoing and long-standing, not just in the city, specifically and particularly in the Northeast District, and it will also be working delivering that library forever. So that is a great thing. I stress the housing portion of this. Any other concerns?
Yes, thank you, Chair Patterson. Just a question about the scope and scale of the library planning, and this isn't answered now in writing. I just want to understand what the size of the library will be in the context of the bigger overall project.
Sorry, I miss. We're on 370. I got ahead of myself. So we're on 370. Lease agreement for the Rochester Police Department, 670. So happy. It's like the cops. All right. So lease agreement, 370.
We did lease agreement.
We did
Yes,
lease
we
agreement? Okay, so it is 371. All right, good. It was quick. We got it done. All right. Back to where we were. All right. So, President Melendez, we need an answer from President.
Get it in right.
Yes, we can provide this. Thank you.
And so then we had a question from Councilman Smith.
So this is
We would be happy to provide in writing a description of the process.
Will that be through Shy Park? Project. Shy, Z Shy
Yeah,
Park.
for the
Z, is that part? No.
we'll include all of that in.
Um,
Thanks. And I would just note that this is actually there's a companion piece. The committee I chair, which say some questions. Set Thursday for NP folks. I guess my question is just around general federal. What does obviously things are out this project is the RH's ability to access.
I am not aware of any issues relating to the ongoing uncertainties at the federal level impacting this particular project specifically. We'd be happy to follow up in writing with any information.
Okay, so let me ask it. Take it a different question. RH. Total scope, total funding of the project, like overall construction, this entire property.
It's a $38 million project.
So we're providing. Is the 3.3 inclusive of the 750 or providing?
There, yes, closer to 4 million.
Okay.
The two.
So we're providing 4 million, one way, shape, or form out of 30 other. Am I safe to say expect to come from feds? RHA doesn't have other sources of.
Low-income housing tax credits, homeless housing assistance,
All
programmatic
federal,
sources
all federal
through the state.
And so state, so we don't know if it's state or state pass through.
Right, and these are right. New York State low-income housing tax.
I guess I just ask questions. What level of is there recent RH? I've seen the housing across the country. Not just fact Fed shut down. So this administration, the Trump administration, is actively tried to use HUD's budget, HUD's workforce. Have there been any concerns?
I'm not aware of any such concerns.
I may ask Deputy Mayor, I guess, ask RHA to be present if they can you just some of these questions.
Thanks for snow.
Is that something that's to our end?
Joseanne.
All right, thank you. No further questions.
And just, I apologize. It's- He can and has. Discussing.
Yeah, I'm looking at the transmittal and it says the 3.3 million will satisfy the rent for the trans- as proposed in a current transmittal, but I don't see that length. Am I missing it?
I believe it's in our budget committee meeting. It's in there. Thursday.
Oh, okay.
It's
You
the
were just talking
companion.
about that. So what is the length term? Just tell me.
Here.
4 years. Same. Is there a reason that extend?
We'll get back to you in writing. Just
Any other questions or concerns? Second.
Second.
Moved in second. Now we vote. In favor of entry 71, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Introductory passes. Introductory 72. Authorizing and project phase 2. Comments or concerns? Seeing none, I need a motion. Second. Second. Vote. 72, say aye. Aye. Opposed, passes. Introductory number 373, authorizing applications, loan agreements, payments for the housing project. We just again commend job affordable housing project. City of Rochester turning a derelict, disused, and abused building into affordable housing. Thank you much. Questions, comments, or concerns, Mr. President?
I'd just like to say, I'd like to echo your remarks. Cadillac Hotel has been practically for a long time. Especially was first erected, it was a prestigious hotel, and for a long time it has been a place where a lot of problems have happened. Glad to see turn it around to affordable housing. Kudos to the administration and his team.
President Melendez?
Yes, thank you. Same remarks of the Vice President. I also want to note that Council that we committed some funds in 2024 for this purpose, expanding affordable housing, and some of those funds are allocated to this process, this specific project.
Comments or concerns?
It's exciting. Target should system. Very excited to referrals.
As with the other response, we'll provide a description of the process for referrals.
Questions, comments, or concerns?
Move it.
Moved in second. All in favor of introductory 373, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Passes. Introductory number 374. Amending the zoning map by changing the zoning classification of Hudson Avenue, Edward Street, Merrimack Street, and Upper Fall. October 16, 2025, 6 p.m. Let me again commend the administration on advancing another high-quality affordable housing project in the Northeast District. Great work. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, need a motion in a second. Moved in second. Now we vote. All in favor of introductory number 374, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Introductory passes. Introductory number 375, authorizing the application of grant agreement for regional revitalization partnership projects. Questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, I need a motion and a second.
Move it.
Moved and second. Vote. All in favor of introductory number 375, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Introductory passes. Introductory number 376, authorizing the application for a downtown revitalization initiative round 9 grant to fund the revitalization of the Four Corners area of downtown Rochester. Questions, comments, or concerns? Councilmember Smith.
So this project some and presentation
Sure. I think the answer from the administration is something line of this is just authorizing you to make an application. I guess the question is, would you expect some notification? Well, when would you expect successful?
I believe we'd hear back in the first quarter of next year, and then if we're successful, that process would kick off later in spring of 2026.
Oh, thank you, Councilmember.
Thanks. So has this application, so we applied for this application. First of all, do we have any indication status how last time?
Well, there's two answers. One is the city of Canandaigua won last round. They had applied all but one of the previous rounds and had not been successful up to this point, and they put forward a good application. So one might say that it was hard to refuse them, right? I can't speak for the evaluation team. The other thing is we did get a debrief afterwards and ask, how can we improve our application, what the only real feedback that we got from a negative standpoint, because it was a great application, we put a lot of work into it, credit to our team and to our consultant partners and the community for helping together, but was they would have liked to have seen more progress on the first DRI area. So we have made quite a bit of progress in the past year, and we'll be documenting that in our application this year.
And remind me, are the current DRI area, is that?
Yes.
Which looks. So has the application changed at all? Or it's just a recent?
We are just getting into development of the application, but it will be a new application. We can build it off of the previous last year's application, but we'll be putting a lot of new thought into it.
But same geographic area, same.
Generally the same. We're expanding the boundaries just a bit to the north, up to Allen Street, so just north of City Hall, just to incorporate the remaining block there on State Street, and extending the boundary over to Montgomery Alley on the west side, just to confirm that buildings on the west side of Fitzhugh Street are within the boundary.
And your sense is that I understand you can't say this with certainty yet. Our first sense is all the buildings part of this last time is interested in.
We're in the process of confirming that, but absolutely everything that we've found to date is considerable support and interest in moving.
Great. Well, that are on
shape.
Seeing that so much of this application is to be determined, I'm wondering why bring it to council now and not end process, so that we know a little bit more about what's to it.
Sure, absolutely. Primary reason we have to come to you is that the DRI application process requires a civil resolution straight authorization for the application.
But my question wasn't that you're coming to us, it's why at the beginning you don't know about what the application would be. Why not after you have application?
Just comes down to the timing, right, for us to be able to get council authorization, and in advance of the submittal date, which is on November 7th. This is our only opportunity to come and get that council resolution prior to submitting the application.
Right. Did you already have information sessions?
No, they've been scheduled. I believe they're coming up later this. Or that is the public open house in support of developing the application.
And when do you know when that is?
I can provide that in writing. I don't have that off the top.
I guess where I'm going with this is one, will we have enough time, since the time frame is very short, to be able to actually meaningfully include the public input that we might get? And is this the normal timeline for these applications, or did it get started later?
No, very similar timeline to last year, and I'd certainly be happy to share our application from last year, so you can get a sense of what was included in that. This is we will do everything we can to incorporate a stakeholder and public input in the application, but then remember that if we're successful, there is a considerable public planning process at the outset before any decisions are made about how funding would be awarded.
So it would come back to council in some form before we spend the money?
Well, there would be a process that includes a local planning committee that is administered by New York State Department of State and its partners in ESD and HCR, and they ultimately guide the process. The dollars don't come to the city.
I understand that everything is happening as this year, and maybe this is how it's been in the past, but I would like to request in future years that we have more information when we're voting submission to be able to make a decision. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Seeing no other questions, comments, second. Moved and seconded, and now we 76 say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Passes. Council, would you like the board to vote? It's number 69. Here for 369? Oh, so
Can I vote?
Oh. This is though you.
Well, being that I also,
Turn on the council.
all right,
Okay, so with there being no other work for the committee, we now adjourn.
At this time, I would like to call the People Parks and Public Works Committee to order. I ask the clerk to call the roll.
Vice President Harris,
Here.
Councilmember Lightfoot, Councilmember Lupian,
Here.
Councilmember Patterson, President Melendez.
Here.
Thank you.
I'd like to reflect Councilman Gruber, Smith, Councilmember Gruber, Councilmember Patterson. Good afternoon. We have one presentation scheduled for this month's People, Parks, and Public Works Committee. I would like to welcome Dr. Shirley, Commissioner of Human Services, and her team, who will provide updates on our crisis intervention unit and person in crisis team, better known as PIC. I'll ask the Mike, Dr. Green here.
Yeah. See me?
I could see you behind his head. I'm sorry.
So, you said Crisis Intervention Services, better known as PIC. Actually, it is Crisis Intervention Services. One of the elements in Crisis Intervention Services is PIC. So you will be getting the presentation around the entire Crisis Intervention Services, and Sarah Fletcher will lead the presentation.
After about so just want to share who is here and as a reminder how the structure. So self and this is services. We also have Monique Williams, who's the supervisor, Steve Carter, Lee Gordon, and again, as mentioned, this is so it has the creating a comprehensive response to families dealing with homicides, and within the unit, of homicides, crisis team, health to crisis support team, which provides resources to just as a reminder, these are the types that we speak to. Safe with mental health, we just somewhat recently all of assistance or dispatch system and revamped and just as a reminder, we do have to it. It's on the site. Services. So just in terms of updates for the whole Justice Center, takes CS crisis intervention services process to crime as soon as they are so outreach to we also started association in Rochester for the they also shape as well as team big thing that currently this is we are actually asked a few things of them in terms of also out to schedule sort of pick in line with spaces field. It's like so that's to find and then we are so sure that fire department twofold. One is to see dispatch to scenes. Other things this so sticks of slag so our scene. It's not something out okay. So that's sort of what sort of
Thank you very much for the presentation, and I'd like to lead a question. Really excited about the updates that you have provided. Thank Dr. Green and your team for a beautiful job that you guys have been doing and leading the efforts and this response. I do have a question. What types of support do you provide for the victims of?
so like I said, reach out to see victims fill out services application. Crime victim. So for example, there's a family side to other organizations.
That it, the housing as well, temporary housing?
Oh yes, sorry. Do off do referrals to then
Question. See in your slide at IB. What is DEIB?
it's an organization that chose the request for proposal process to
Do you know what it stands for?
sue name of
Okay. All right. And my final question is, have you guys considered, you guys come across cases of abuse? Some of those cases to even consider to provide support for?
to that was type
What?
On the theme of crime victims, I know someone who was a victim of a crime. He was paralyzed, is now losing his health insurance because of what's happening in the country. And are we able to some support? Is there any line to help victims of crimes be able to navigate? I mean, keeping their position, the other things that
make that connection. I don't fill the
when you said long-term support, I wondered if that fell under category.
to find assistance.
Second question is mentioned that there's a evaluation of types that it goes to. Can you give more detail?
Mental health.
Yep. Can you give, because I know we started off with 3 call types that it could go to alone.
So change types. Types are
I see.
so I
Yeah.
so so sense.
Yeah, it was involved initial creation of the team and select 3 call types. So it's good. I'm glad to see our call types added to by default, because I think some of the other ones dispatched seen. So I think that's great information. In fact, what are the co-response call types versus the other ones that dispatched at the scene?
So that's
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the plan is to add more, the ones that are getting dispatched, seen, potentially direct dispatched. Okay.
President Melendez?
Yes, thank you. I want to talk about the dashboard, get an understanding of some definitions. First, I just want to say the dashboard is great. It's a good way, easy to maneuver and understand. This part.
Can I ask, since people are watching, I saw a link site.
Figure that out. But my question is around while that's happening, one of the call outcomes is called remained on site. Explain what that actually is. The other ones make sense: mental health transport, transported to another site, family transport, etc. The remained on site.
sent
Site pick.
that was
Gotcha. Thank you. And then that makes sense. Sorry. Total calls by response type. There was 53% service was not provided. I'm assuming that it was not fixed call. Basically, it arrived on scene and determined that this was not the job. Say.
so we actually question we there's a
Understood. And then what was glaring to me, I filtered data just for 2025 to see recent picture. There were over 400, 10 to 19 sought services. I think we all know that young people are facing mental health crises in general. I just wonder in that space what collaboration does happen to pick district, city and the district in that case, just to understand the dynamics and collaboration.
I'm part of that CS so how say for a so
Last question that calls by location zip code. I know that we our response team, and we to the different areas of the city based on calls. But I wonder if there's a potential collaboration down the road with, say, the Office of Mental Health or other partners, where they should deploy mental health, other resources that are adjacent to PIC, and could we use our data to help some of those conversations?
So yes, it's
Yeah, with the percentage of co-response versus pick, is there a way that we get? So I was thinking about the calls with children to understand like down of how many of those versus co-response, and I'd have some of the other types too. Is that easy to put up? Yeah, of course. Yep. Okay, great.
I will say up to so 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 um
Thank, thank for all our guns. That has the that you now. That will conclude the presentation. Now we will proceed to legislation. Introductory number 377, authorized military agreement related to the 2004 preventative maintenance project. What concerns? Actually, let me roll back. Just wanted to point to my colleagues real quick. In the questions that was answered, there's a bikeway time strategies section 2 that I asked for them to give us so we can have like key on some of the language. Additional question? Okay, I need a motion second.
Bet.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Introductory number 78, authorizing agreements and appropriate funds for priority bicycle boulevards implementation phase 3 priority presentation safe improvements project. Questions, comments, and concerns? Council member.
Thank you. I'm curious, have there been any traffic studies to indicate how well used the bicycle boulevards have been at this point?
I believe it was studied. I would have to confirm. Planning checks. Soft delight for sure.
Great, I appreciate a follow up on that. And then I think, if my memory is correct, we've modified and changed signage around the bicycle boulevards since they were first established. There's been some at least maybe there's just signage, but is there a sense for how this phase, would there be any changes to how we're to they are?
Again, I apologize. I didn't confirm.
So that's
plans. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the two questions. I just like to say, I'm certainly supportive of bike, but my sense is that they're still not as well utilized as maybe they were initially thought they might be. Maybe that's totally off. So I'd like to see, regardless. So, if you have
Need a motion.
Second.
Dave?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carry. Introduction 79, authorizing implementation and 100% federal aid, state Monticello costs of the Transportation Federal Aid Project, City of Rochester Bicycle Boulevard Phase 3, Priority Pedestrian Safe Project, and appropriating funds therefore. Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Introductory number 80, sending the official map to the Seneca Avenue Reconstruction Project. A public hearing will be held on Thursday, October 16, 2025 at 6 p.m. Any questions, comments, concerns? Favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Introductory 381, authorizing the alteration of pavement widths to Seneca Avenue Reconstruction Project. A public hearing will be held Thursday, October 16, 2025 at 6 p.m. Questions, comments, or concerns? Second. In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Introductory number 82, appropriating funds related to 2025 project. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Introductory 383, authorizing extension for an agreement with New York State Department of Transportation related to snow and ice patrol services. Questions, concerns? Councilmember
Camp, we're talking snow and ice, such as life. So that this is specific state controlled. But just wanted to think talked some probably during the budget hearing about just post general plowing season last year and making sure we're well prepared this year. So I don't think I've seen anything, but if there's an opportunity for us to hear about, doesn't have to be now, of course, hear about what we're doing to potentially be better prepared plowing last year, tough year, and this year maybe too, that would help. Happy.
Yeah, we can get you something in writing as. So.
Yeah, I think maybe it would be helpful on our end just to look at budget. So Jen and just follow up on that, just make sure that there are any questions at that time. So we'll follow.
Let's go.
Councilmember Luke.
Yeah, was it this month? Was there a grant that got us to do expanded sidewalk?
That's a planning.
It's a study. Yep. Okay.
It's for engineering.
Yes, thank you. So that's part of the plan of improving kind of pedestrian areas. Are they going to be studying how our snow plowing roads?
To sidewalks, trails, like.
Okay. Thank you.
Need a motion second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. 384, authorizing compensation adjustment state department of transportation related to control services. Questions, comments, and concerns?
Move it.
Second. Favor? Opposed? Introductory 385, authorizing amendment agreement for 2000 lead service line replacement projects 3B and C. Questions, comments, and concerns?
Yeah.
Motion. Patterson?
Just once again, continue to thank the administration to engaging in continued services through the city of Rochester. I'm just complaining. We're now wait for ask for permission. It's in the best interest of
Councilwoman Luke.
Yeah. Second that. Do we have? It would be interesting to me to have a public dashboard, but I'd also like some information, right, on the progress of our lead line placement throughout the city and where there are current lead lines. Do we have public available?
We do have a public-facing dashboard that lists our inventory and counts. We also that service project page that shows projects are scheduled. I do not show various resources on our web pages that do explain going as well as our property, any individual property service.
Okay, that's great. And it's for watching at home. Is there a easy web URL or it's just on your page?
I believe if you go to cityofrochester.gov/lead and click to see projects dashboards.
Thank you. And I can look this up too, but one question, if I look at my property, see, okay, I have a lead line, does it also tell you?
It does not until projects bid certainty within which project individual service. So our plan to place all is any individual service.
Thank you. And just wanted to also to have good drinking water. So getting replaced. In a second, Council President Melendez.
Yes, I want to first thank my colleagues for asking these questions. I did look online at the city website or the lead section and just want to commend the administration for having so much information and detail here. I think it's important that the public is aware of this, and you can actually download, look at all the maps for all the projects. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion in a second. Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Introductory number 86, funds related to the United States Department of Justice Assistance Fiscal Justice Assistance Grant Program. Questions, comments? Need a motion second. Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, can I get a roll call vote?
No, let's.
Vice President Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Ian.
No.
Councilmember Patterson.
Absent.
President Melendez.
Yes.
Motion carries. 387, authorizing the grant application to fund the renovation of swimming facilities at Jackson Art Center through New York statewide initiative. Any questions? Councilmember President.
Thank you. Just a quick question. I know that Jackson Art Center did receive a lot of city kind of reinvested in that center. What are the major issues with what would this actually support the Jackson Art Center and
It's basically focus on the swimming pool area, but I will ask Sarah Hooper if you can add to.
Sure. So the project I'm referring to that project for the pool surface itself. This project will replace the pool deck, pool light.
this is additional work? It's not facing something that's fixed. Okay, great. Thank you.
Of 2019.
Second.
Move it.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Authorizing the community state services. Questions, comments, or concerns?
Yeah, this looks like great. I wonder if you have materials, promotional materials, or training agenda.
We have not put out flyers of this time this year. Since those are
Wonderful. Thanks.
Motion and second.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Should amendment number 389, a bond ordinance of the City of Rochester, New York, authorizing the issuance of $500,000 bonds for said Monroe Avenue Street Emergency Street Construction Project. Questions, comments? Council Member President Mendez?
Thank you. Question about this is early damage. We have $5,000 allocated at this point. We anticipate that cost will increase.
This time we do not. We haven't gotten the full. So services going to.
In addition to that, do we know in terms of neighborhood, the overall scope, the impact? I know that the mayor had a chance to walk there with you, Commissioner, and others. But just in terms of whether or not insurance is going to help some of these constituents, whether or not the city is going to provide any additional resources or support.
We're accepting claims and we'll situation.
Councilmember Luke?
What is the policy damage caused by the water main break?
To evaluate acts.
Okay. I thought I remembered over the years getting this as a response that can proven that the city was negligent. That
it's different reports for types. So some all act escape.
okay. So when you say it type, would that be for all of the water claims, or is it per?
Generally, look at per claim. I setbacks.
And I just want to say, it was a huge disruption to a lot of constituents, and I was appreciative that John Brock came out to meeting to hear their concerns, and I know a lot of it we can't do anything about, but the original estimate I heard for the road being repaired was a month. I don't know if that was actually a true number, but I appreciate how it was repaired. I think they're still working on Rosedale now. Looks like it's too, and being responsive to some of the things that the constituents were upset about, like the dirty sidewalks, moving barriers to be easier for people to come to the businesses that they could access that were still open. So I just want to express appreciation for that.
Yeah, thanks for that. So say associations. Get
Councilmember Patterson?
So for the folks that were affected by the flood, what should, if they believe that they have if they have first thing, is there a timeline that they need to file a notice of claim? Is there a timeline to file a notice of claim? Do they have to file a notice of claim? What do they have to do? First thing they should talk to their insurer. Should their own insurer. City site. Tip about city.
Okay.
could that be communicated to the neighborhood association?
Check with John Brock, but I already that process.
Okay.
But I'll
Thank you.
Questions? Second. Favor? Opposed? The motion carries. With no further business, the Pool Parks and Public Works Committee stand adjourned.